Hello, I'm Shannon McQuaid, yoga teacher and founder of Fireflex Yoga, and today I'm going to take you on a hip safari. And a hip safari is a series of yoga postures that we'll do on our back, getting into our external hips, our inner hips, hamstrings, and quadriceps. It turns out that a lot of us can get tight hips. Simply spending all day sitting at our desk can cause our hips to feel tight and congested. Or if we like to run or do a strong yoga practice or hike, all of these can make our hips feel tight. In the firehouses, when I bring in the hip safari, firefighters love it because when you can release the hips, you can also take some of the pressure out of the knees, ankles, back, and shoulders. So you'll get to try this for yourself now. Let's go ahead and begin by coming onto our backs. And in a couple of the postures, I recommend having a yoga belt or a yoga strap nearby, or just a regular belt or a scarf can also be a great substitute. So beginning on your backs, let the knees be bent. Feel the feet pressing into the mat. Your feet can be hip width apart, or you can actually walk your feet wide apart and let the knees rest together. So your choice. Bent knees, though, do decompress the low back. So if you're feeling some tightness or restriction in your low back, then I recommend keeping your knees bent. And then let's take our fingertips and rest them here on our lower abdomen. And we'll start with some deep breathing to both settle the body and mind through our breath. So draw a deep breath in through the nose and fill the lungs up with air. Allow the belly to expand and your hands to lift. And then open your mouth and slowly exhale all the breath out. And do that again. Take a deep breath in, filling the lungs up with air. Let the belly expand. Feel your hands lift. Pause at the top of the inhalation. And then again, open your mouth. Slowly exhale all the breath out. Good, and last time, breathe in deeply. Feel the entire torso expanding as you inhale. Pause. And then exhaling the breath out nice and slow. And feel your body settling into the mat. Grounding down. Being supported. And then go ahead and open up the knees and feet about hip width apart. And allow your hands to come near the hips. You can turn the palms up and feel the front of the shoulders drop down. Pick up the right foot. Take the outer right ankle onto the left thigh. Flex the right toes towards the shin to protect and stabilize that knee. Draw a deep breath in. And as you exhale, you can begin to pick the left foot up. And as you pick the left foot up, you might already feel a pretty good stretch here in the outer right hip. You're also welcome to thread the arms in between the legs, holding onto the shins or behind the knee. Now, if you find you go to hold on and your upper back lifts up off the mat, or you really have to flex the neck to get the head down, then I recommend not holding on. And you can just let your left foot rest on the mat. Right? Whatever option you're deciding to take now, go ahead and begin to draw the right knee back. So the right knee away from the right armpit. You can use your hand. And start to weight the base of the pelvis. So rather than curling the tailbone away from the mat, start to draw the tailbone towards the mat. And we're going to use opposing actions here to get deeper into the right hip. We'll pause and we'll just take a few deep breaths here. And you can take your attention onto your breath, or you can take your attention to the sensation in the outer right hip. And then on an exhalation, slowly plant that left foot on the ground, plant the right foot on the ground. Take your fingertips back to your lower abdomen, drawing a deep breath into the body. and then exhaling all the breath out. Switching sides, outer left ankle onto the right thigh, flexing the toes towards the shin, deep breath in. And as you exhale, pulling the right knee in towards the chest, and then picking a shape that's going to work for your body today. Allowing the shoulders to soften, and again reaching the tailbone towards the mat, and gently drawing the left knee away from your left armpit. A few deep breaths here in figure 4 pose, targeting the external hip rotators. I like this hip safari a lot because it's a practice that you can do if you're not feeling like you have very much energy, you're fatigued at the end of the day or fatigued from traveling. You can just come on down to the floor and really begin to open up the hips, which has this ripple effect in your whole body. And then slowly setting the right foot down and then the left foot down. And again, let your hands rest on your abdomen and just feel the wave-like motion of your breath in your body. And then from the outer hips, we're going to journey to the inner hips. So walk your feet and knees together. Take a deep breath in and let your hands come down by your hips. And as you exhale, pick the feet up off the mat. Let the knees stack over the hips. And then lift the feet up so that maybe the calves are parallel to the floor. Flexing the toes towards the shins and taking your hands to the inner knees. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, begin to separate the knees towards the floor, right? And move with awareness. You'll know when you're getting a good stretch and it's time to stop. And then holding on to the inner knees, we'll begin to refine this pose. So you can start to again weight the base of the pelvis, feeling the tailbone moving towards the mat. And at the same time, you can begin to draw the knees closer to your armpits, or you can begin to draw the knees towards the floor or both. As long as we're moving with awareness, you'll be able to discern between getting a good stretch and starting to feel pain. So a lot of these poses can feel intense, but we want to make sure that we're not in pain. And if you can keep your breath moving smooth and steady, that's a great barometer for how you're working with yourself. And then take one more deep breath here. And on an exhalation, bring the knees together, plant the feet, and pause. And then go ahead and grab your strap, and this will be the last set of postures, and we'll be targeting the backs of the legs and the outer seam of the leg, the IT band. So with your strap, you can take your strap and you can wrap it around the ball of your right foot, bringing the leg towards straight and holding the strap in both hands. Now, if you take the strap around the wider part of your foot, you can gently draw the toes towards the shins and not only get in the back, begin to work into the hamstrings, but you might feel this stretch all the way up into the Achilles tendon. And then as you're exhaling, allow the shoulders to soften down towards the floor and away from the ears. Allow the neck to release. You can even gently just roll your chin from one shoulder to the other. And then we'll begin to refine this pose. So you may notice that just by beginning to straighten the leg, that the right hip has moved higher than the left. So start to draw the outer right hip back, away from the right armpit and down, so you can begin to level the pelvis. You want to feel the right waist lengthening as well as the left, and not that you're hiking the hip. And then holding the strap in just the left hand, allow the right arm to come onto the floor. The palm and the wrist are in line with your shoulder. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, begin to take the right leg across your body, but without rolling the right hip away from the floor. So you probably won't go very far. And then let the left knee roll in towards the midline of your mat. So your right leg is coming across, but still keeping the back of the right hip down, and your left knee is coming in towards the center line of the mat. And you should feel a pretty good stretch. Let's take a few deep breaths here. Remember, the breath is the litmus test for how you're working. If you find that your breath is getting shallow or you're breathing rapidly, you probably want to back out of the stretch. Good, and then let's inhale and go ahead and draw the right leg back up. And then just simply put the strap again nearby, but take the right leg across the left. We're going to do a very gentle twist. Opening up your arms either in goal pose, so you can have your arms flat on the floor. You want to pick up your hips and move them a little bit to the right, and then gently let your knees roll to the left, and you can let your head roll right. And take a few more deep breaths here. And then on an exhalation, draw your knees back to center, uncross your legs, and straighten out your hips. Pause for a moment with your fingertips resting on your abdomen. And let's grab the strap and do the same thing on the other side. I have a really long strap, so I folded it in half, wrapping it around the ball of the left foot this time, and drawing the left hip down and away from the left armpit. Holding on with both hands so you can feel your shoulder blades settling into the floor. And then go ahead and adjust your chin so you feel the neck releasing. And you can keep a soft bend in the knees, in the knee. And you can take your time flexing your toes towards the shin. And the same thing on the other side. We'll grab the strap in just the right hand. We'll let the left shoulder and left arm anchor against the floor. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, begin to take the left leg across your body. Let the right knee roll in. Keeping the back of the left hip in contact with the mat. And try not to sickle the foot. And what I mean by that is try not to let the pinky toe side of the foot roll towards the ceiling. Instead, keep the foot flat. And then inhaling, releasing the stretch, allowing the left knee to cross over the right. Pick up the hips and draw them a little bit to the left before you gently let your knees roll to the right and let your head turn to the left. And then on an exhalation, bring the head to center, bring the knees to center, uncross the legs, and straighten out your hips. Go ahead and extend both legs onto the mat. Take the arms overhead like a morning stretch. Deep breath in, filling your body up with breath, and then draw one knee and the other into your chest. holding on so that your head and your upper back can relax on the floor, and just gently rock your knees from side to side. Massaging across the low back. And bring your knees stationary, and then let your chin roll from the right shoulder over to the left shoulder. And one more time, rolling the chin and feeling a stretch in the opposite side of your neck. And then draw your chin to center in between your collarbones. Let your feet come down. And then go ahead and straighten your legs onto the mat. Your feet can come wide apart and the toes can turn out. Your arms can come alongside the hips with the palms turning up. I like to press into the back of my head so I can draw my shoulder blades down my back so I have lots of space at the base of the neck. And then we'll finish here, resting in Shavasana, a pose that teaches us about stillness and integration. I'll stay with you for about 6 deep breaths, but I encourage you to stay here as long as you need to today. And if you're ready to come out, you can bend both knees, roll onto your right side, press all the way up to sitting. Take a moment to acknowledge yourself for practicing with me, an act of self-care and self-compassion. I look forward to seeing you again. Thank you. Namaste.